So I've been a fan of a lot of Nintendo games and characters for quite some time. I mean, I cannot tell you how many hours I spent in Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Breath of the Wild, etc, 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 and yeah, that's just the Zelda games. Nevertheless, on today's episode, I'm going to take you through some incredible designs of some custom commanders inspired by Nintendo. These designs came from some of the amazing members over at Custom Dragon Highlander. And if you want to join their awesome Discord, make sure you check out the link in the description below. Their community is dedicated to designing, creating, playtesting, and voting on custom commanders. So the designs in this episode are the best of the best, the cream of the crop as voted on by their community. So a massive thank you to their community for designing and sharing these cards. And a big thank you to Alano for organizing all of this. And now, of course, with all that said, let's jump into it. First up, coming in at 10th place, we've got Mario the Fireheart by Acorn. So, Mario is a 3/3 human warrior with persist that costs 1 red, green, white. He has, when Mario enters the battlefield, return to 1 target aura card from your graveyard to your hand. And whenever an aura becomes attached to Mario, Mario deals 2 damage to any target. So before I actually go into my thoughts about these cards, I'm going to read a quick quote from the creators that made them. Acorn had this to say: Mario's card design is based on his appearances in the Super Mario Bros. Series, with the aura theme representing his power-ups, the burn effect representing his association with fire, and the persist keyword added as a small nod to how he shrinks when he gets hit in those games while also synergizing with his ETB ability. He plays similarly to Earl the Mistalker with an Aura Voltron strategy and is able to circumvent some of the main pitfalls of Aura decks through being able to reuse auras and easily clear out chump blockers. Acorn, I 100% agree, and I definitely think that this design is very flavorful for a Mario card. I definitely like the inclusion of power-ups, fire, and yeah, even getting smaller, which actually kind of works again with getting those auras back as well. Aura Voltron is definitely a great way to take this commander. You can also use and abuse auras though that can be blinked back or gotten back and just keep pinging things for 2 damage or even more with some other effects, and yeah, you can also find ways to use and abuse that persist ability, so I think this can be a very powerful and very flavorful commander that can be taken in a lot of different directions. So overall, Acorn, a fantastic job. But now let's move on to number 9 with Sheik, Shrouded Mystic by Sir ISO. Sheik is a 1/3 elf ninja with Skulk and Vigilance that costs 1 white-blue. She has Vanish whenever 1 or more creatures you control attack and aren't blocked, venture into the dungeon. And Got Item, as long as you've completed a dungeon, creatures you control have lifelink, and whenever this creature deals common damage to a player, scry 1. Sir ISO had this to say about the design. As Zelda's alter ego, Sheik helps Link collect items from various dungeons to defeat Ganon. I wanted to reflect her status as a member of this Sheikah tribe by focusing on unblockable creatures while also incorporating dungeon mechanics. She synergizes with creatures with flying and Skulk as well, and if you can complete a dungeon early, the deck has the potential to gain a lot of life and dig deep for important cards. So I would also add life gain payoffs and combat damage triggers. Well, Sir ISO, again, Zelda is one of my favorite series of all time, and I absolutely love the design of Sheik. You did a great job incorporating the flavor of this character into the design. And of course, with that design, it's a very effective commander that I think has a lot of potential. You can utilize a lot of fantastic low-to-the-ground evasive creatures in these colors, and again, they can provide you a ton of value with this commander's effects. So overall, Sir ISO, definitely 2 thumbs up on this design. But now we're moving on to number 8 with Mario Party by Arsene. Mario Party is a legendary tribal enchantment citizen for red, green, blue, white. It has at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may sacrifice a gold. If they do, they roll 3d6. If they don't, instead they roll 2d6. Until the beginning of their next turn, that player can't spend more mana than the total result of those dice. It also has tap. Each player reveals the top card of their library. The owner of each card revealed this way with the highest mana value creates a gold token. Then each player draws a card. And of course, on top of that, Mario Party can be your commander. And our scene had this to say about Mario Party. Around the Nintendo universe, one thing that appeared the most to me is the bond that may form between players. Smash Brothers may be an accurate example, but I shall present this focus on Mario Party. Play the game with your friend, roll the dice, and parlay with them. Of course, the game is unfair, but I never heard someone saying the opposite. This card is meant for having a good time. Well, Arsene, I definitely think that this could be a great time playing with this commander, and yeah, it can lead to a lot of very interesting turns. Just like in an actual game of Mario Party. I really love the flavor of actually rolling d6s and having a chance to get an extra value with an extra d6 if you happen to have a card with the highest mana cost on top of your library. Regardless, again, each player is getting some card advantage out of Mario Party at the very least when you do tap it to ensure that that happens. And of course, I can see things getting even crazier with this as a commander that you can actually untap to get that effect more than once in a turn. But yeah, overall, I really like the design of Mario Party, so again, thank you so much, Arsene, for sharing it. Next up though, let's move on to number 7 with Yoshi Voracious Dino by Fresh Produce. Yoshi is a 3/4 dinosaur with reach and trample that costs 1 red, green, white. Whenever Yoshi enters the battlefield or attacks, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Yoshi. It becomes a 0/1 green egg creature with Defender and loses all other types and abilities. And on top of that, as long as you control a human, dinosaurs you control have tap, sacrifice an egg. This permanent deals 3 damage to any target. Fresh Produce had this to say about the design. The inspiration of Yoshi was from his ability to turn people into eggs and throw them. Requiring a human is very symbolic to Yoshi's bond with Mario in Super Mario Bros. I would build the deck mainly around blinking Yoshi playing a ton of dinos and tutoring for Atla Palani. Atla Palani synergizes very well with Yoshi as she creates eggs and the death trigger is great value. Well, Fresh Produce, I couldn't agree with you more. This is a fantastic design that really encapsulates what Yoshi, well, can be all about in certain games. Turning your opponent's creatures into eggs and shucking them seems like a lot of fun, and again, especially like you mentioned, when you've got Atla Palani on board as well to help you get a lot of fantastic creatures off the top of your library for free. I especially love the flavor text on this one as well, just overall a great job, Fresh Produce. But now it's time for us to move on to number 6 with Olimar Stranded Captain by Moon. Olimar is a 1/5 gnome scout that costs 1 white, black, green. Olimar has, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a food token. And by paying 2, you can sacrifice a food and choose 1, then create a creature token with the chosen characteristics. A 2/1 plant with First Strike, a 1/2 blue plant with this creature can't be blocked, or a 2/2 red plant with haste. And Moon had this to say on the design. Olimar is a very interesting character. The Pikmins he finds love him dearly, but he's detached from them. So as you go around salvaging ship parts and using the dead bodies of your enemies as fuel to create Pikmins, these little guys are dying left and right. Olimar, however, doesn't care because Olimar just wants to get back home. Therefore, my card is trying to represent this tiny machine of death where creatures dying gives you food and you can turn food into Pikmins. A very simple Abzan card that works well with both food synergy and edict effects while remaining versatile enough to be able to do other things if necessary. Well, Moon, I really like the design of this one, and I think this commander has a ton of potential. You can make an absurd amount of food tokens throughout the game by having this in play, and of course there are plenty of ways to take advantage of having a ton of tokens in play. One card that came right to mind when I saw this was also Heartstone, which can help reduce that cost of that ability to just 1, so yeah, you can make an army of Pikmin in absolutely no time. And of course, you can make the Pikmin that is right for the situation that you're in, and yeah, I really like the different kinds of Pikmin that you chose to make. So again, yeah, overall a fantastic design, Moon. Next up though, let's move on to number 5 with Metroid Parasitic Horde by Chi-Chi. Metroid Parasitic Horde is a 2/3 listed that costs 1 black, red. By paying a red and tapping it, it becomes an aura enchantment with enchant creature, and enchanted creature is goaded. Attach it to target creature, it becomes a creature again if it's not attached to a creature. And whenever a creature attacks, if it had to attack this combat, put a -1/-1 counter on it and create a treasure token. And Chi-Chi had this to say about the design. I wanted to focus the design centrally around the predatory, ever-hunting nature of the Metroid species. The use of -1/-1 counters to represent life force being drained away and goad was the perfect avenue to do this. And being able to effectively use a classic creature type in Listed was an opportunity I couldn't pass on. Well, Chi-Chi, I absolutely love that you are bringing Listeds back, and I think this is the perfect way to do it. The flavor is right on with this one, and yeah, this thing could be a very spicy commander. I can see a lot of goading effects going really far with a commander like this, and of course maybe some other ways to, proliferate to make sure those -1 counters keep building up on creatures. So overall, a great design. Thank you so much, Chi-Chi. Next up though, it's time for us to move on to number 4 with Robin Fell Vessel by Greedy Fumo. Robin is a 3/4 human wizard that costs 2 blue, red, white. She has, when she enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may exile an instant sorcery card from among them and put a learn counter on it. Put the rest of them on your library in a random order. And by paying 3, create a colorless artifact token named Tome. With tap, exile this artifact. You may cast a card you own and exile with a learn counter on it without paying its mana cost. And Greedy Fumo had this to say on the design. Robin, the protagonist of my favorite Fire Emblem game Awakening, and my Smash main was an easy choice. I wanted to focus on their resource management in both the game and Smash representation, so it's all about saving up your big spells while you build up your tome collection. I would build this deck with a plan of Conjurer's Closet and Teleportation Circle, playing the politics game as you slowly gain more tomes and spells to put in them, only to have a big finish using up all of your tomes to combo out and win the game. Well, Greedy Fumo, I think this is a fantastic melding of both flavor and function. And I 100% agree that blink effects, especially repeatable ones, could be great with this commander to help you build up that spell collection with learn counters on them. On top of finding ways to ramp to ensure that you can get a lot of mana into that ability to make a ton of tomes. I can also see a card like Training Grounds, or maybe a more budget-friendly version like Zerda, could be really impactful with this commander as well. But again, overall, a fantastic design, and again, thank you, Greedy Fumo. But next up, we're moving on to number 3 with Captain Falcon, Galaxy's Finest by Pepsi Man. Captain Falcon is a 5/3 human pilot that costs 2 red, white. He has, whenever a vehicle crewed by Captain Falcon, Galaxy's Finest, deals combat damage to a player, untap Captain Falcon in each vehicle you control. After this phase, the virtual combat phase, this ability triggers only once each turn. And also, Falcon Punch. By paying 2 in a red and tapping it, Captain Falcon deals damage equal to 3 times the number of times you've attacked this turn to any target. Pepsi Man had this to say about the design. Falcon's fiery bravado and high-octane spirit, tied with his little-known bounty hunting career, is what I tried to capture with this card. It's a fast combat-heavy design that's sure to outpace your opponents and smack face with Magic's finest racing machines. Falcon's iconic, so why not give players the chance to Falcon Punch their opponents right out of their LGS? I absolutely love that. Yes. The second I saw that Falcon Punch, I was like, yeah, I definitely need to find a way to one-shot an opponent with that. So of course, vehicles, extra combats, ways to untap this, ways to add even more damage, maybe even double damage, are all things that I would be considering when it comes to building around this fantastic commander. So again, thank you Pepsi Man for sharing this awesome design, and I cannot wait to Falcon Punch Eddie out of a game. Next up though, let's move on to number 2 with King Boo, Tyrant of the Manor by Sir Tiffany. King Boo is a 3/4 Spirit Noble with flying that costs 3 white, black. It has each instant or sorcery card you own has Haunt. When the creature it's haunting dies, you may cast a copy of that card without paying its mana cost. And Haunt means that when that card is put into a graveyard after resolving, exile it, haunting target creature. On top of that, instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each opponent who sacrificed a non-token creature this turn. And Sir Tiffany had this to say about the design. King Boo gives an almost Orzhov take on Rebound. Your instant sorceries get cast once more, but only when a specific creature dies for each of those spells if the haunted creature dies at all. He encourages playing some edict effects in order to optimize the efficiency. You can cast your spells as something to play around with while deck building. I think it's a fun spell slinging commander with lots of murder to back it up. Well, Sir Tiffany, the only thing that is more awesome than that horrifying art for King Boo is the amazing design for this card. I love that you made the most out of the haunt mechanic, and it is so flavorful being with King Boo. I also like that you incorporated a way to help you sling some spells, again, by utilizing edict effects to ensure that your instant sorceries can cost a lot less. I think a spell slinging Orzhov deck like this one that can utilize Haunt is a fantastic one, and yeah, again, Sir Tiffany, thank you so much for sharing this incredible design. And now we have finally gotten to number 1 with Luigi Mansion Delver by Alano. Luigi is a 1/3 human coward that costs 2 and a white. It says whenever you complete a dungeon, if you've completed 3 or more differently named dungeons, you win the game. And tap, you may search your library for a spirit card and exile it, then shuffle. Any opponent may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. If you exiled a card this way, venture into the dungeon. And Alano had this to say about the design. Luigi Mansion Delver was built around his character from the Luigi Mansion series. I simply wanted to make it a fun card that would be both thematic and enjoyable to run. The main ability of this card is winning the game once you complete your 3rd dungeon of a different name, which is meant to represent beating the game by completing the mansion itself. The card also has an activated ability which allows for you to venture into the dungeon by exiling a spirit from your deck, which your opponents are then allowed to cast from exile. This is meant to feel as though Luigi is venturing into the mansion while potentially running into more ghosts. It's also intentional that it doesn't say, may spend mana as though a man of any color when it comes to casting these spirits from exile, since I feel that would make the activated ability significantly weaker. Alano, I absolutely love this design, and I think you did a fantastic job bringing all that flavor from Luigi's Mansion into this card. That alternative win condition is absolutely incredible and something that I definitely love to see on this card, and it's so flavorful. Like you said, beating the game by completing the mansion, which in this case, the dungeons. And yeah, being able to venture further and further into the dungeon with this commander itself, but at a cost, is huge. I love that. I like that push and pull of it, though that risk reward to it that your opponents get access to those spirits, but yeah, I would still probably go pretty heavy into ways to untap this so I can keep venturing further and further. Overall, again, an incredible job, and congratulations, Alano, on finishing 1st place in this contest. And of course, again, a huge thank you for putting all this together, and again, a massive thank you to the entire Custom Dragon Highlander community for participating and voting on these commanders. These designs were truly incredible, and I was absolutely blown away. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, if you'd like to join the Custom Dragon Highlander community, remember that there is a Discord invite link in the description below. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.